Alrighty then, what is up, everybody? Johnny Christ here with my co-host Brandon Lombardo. I'm fucking psyched today, dude. How are you doing?
I'm pissed off because you just sold me out to our guest like 30 seconds ago and said I wasn't ready. You said I wasn't ready.
You weren't ready. We had to tell him to wait 5 minutes so I could hit record on everything because you weren't ready yet.
We're going to clear the air when he gets in here and... You know, maybe it was both of us, John. Maybe it was both of us.
No way. It wasn't both of us. It was all you. I was 100% ready. Nah, I'm just kidding. Yeah. I'm excited, though, man. We got a great guest today from one of my new favorite bands out there in White Reaper. We've got the keyboardist Ryan Hayter coming on the show today, and I'm really excited because it wasn't that long ago that I was talking up this band, and I said, hey, anybody here listening to the show or watching at home right now, if you have any contact to anybody in White Reaper, I'd love to talk to them on or off camera. And it was definitely, and it was you, lo and behold, that got me in contact with Ryan a couple months ago after said conversation. How did that come to be, real quick?
I caught them playing at Sonic Temple here in Cincinnati. You guys were on that festival too. I think they played the next day or maybe like 2 days later. And,
yeah, it must have been. It definitely wasn't on the same day because I would have made sure to head over there.
Yeah, I don't think it was the same day. But no, dude, I watched their set and then said, all right, well, let me try to catch these guys as they're coming off the stage, So I watched side stage, and once the show was over, I was the classic, like, hound that you see in a movie, like, hey, excuse me, sir, can I, and I was that guy. But, at least I had good news for him. I wasn't trying to, get him locked into, like, a 5-year high interest rate bullshit loan or something.
Wow, you've obviously been on business calls before this because you went straight into an ARM fucking loan. Jesus, man, been that kind of day for you, huh?
I have the dumpster fire here for a reason. Okay.
Well, I know you. We talked about it on Friday. You went into incarceration. We talked about the titty milk escapades on Thursday night that happened to you.
We did.
How was the rest of the show, though, real quick, before we get Ryan back in here?
I heard it was good. I left. I only caught Friday's set, so I saw Limp Bizkit. I just wanted to see Limp Bizkit, man. I was there for Limp Bizkit, and it was great. They killed it. I mean,
great show.
Great show.
Did you get a chance? Did you get a chance to hound Wes like I asked you to, or no?
Did not. No.
Okay.
No. But
that guy, man.
He's Wes.
He's elusive. Man. He's elusive.
He is. Can't track him down, dude.
Yeah, we had a great chat though on the show, and then when I went on, when he was doing Danny Wimmer's thing with Bobby.
Yeah, he was on that Space Zebra show for a minute.
Space Zebra, that's what it was. Yeah. I forgot the name of it. Cool stuff. But yeah, I'm glad you had a good weekend. I know you've been busy though since then because we had the kids from the guys in their 20s from Are You Kidding TV last week, and I know you were scrambling when I sent you all that stuff over the weekend. So.
I wish I could have joined that one, man. Like that's how I kind of got my start in a video, was doing just like funny, like prank, and not even pranks. They're actually doing like fun things, but it was in that world.
It almost seems pranky though, right? Because some of it seems ridiculous, the stuff that they have to do for money. But
there's actually like a good reward for it. I did it, I didn't do it out of good nature. It was just I'm an asshole. So like there's a difference.
I wonder how that happened. I
don't know, man. Let's get Ryan in here, man.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm waiting for him to come back. I told him to come back in 5 minutes, so he'll be.
Let's talk about you. Let's talk about you. You're back on the road now, man. How was the first? How many shows did you play already?
We haven't played any yet. Today is the first. Like we're recording on Tuesday, where I am in Camden, New Jersey. Yeah. Tonight, first show. We got Kim Dracula and Alexis on Fire. I was just at the venue until about 3:00 last night, going over lighting and sound. Because we only had 2 shows. We had Forum and MSG, and there was a different front of house guy, and we hadn't had a chance. We haven't been in a proper touring and in the rhythm, which is something that becomes pretty important. So we were there till 3:00 last night, just collaborating with our light guy and our sound guy, making sure everyone's on the same page. Really excited for this tour to start, though, man. It's gonna be. For the first time in 6 years, I got a bus picking me up from the hotel here after we're done with this episode and heading to the venue again. So it's really exciting. I'm excited to see Kim Dracula. Kim Dracula is on the show. Has never played, to my knowledge, this is what I heard from management, has never played a single live show, and they're about to open. Yeah, and they are about to open the show in front of probably 10, 12,000 people tonight for they's first show.
That's impressive.
That's my understanding. I'm really looking forward to meeting them.
Yeah.
And later on tonight and catching some of their set and just enjoying it. And hopefully for the listeners and viewers here at home, hopefully I'm going to be able to get Kim on the show here in the next couple of weeks. Hopefully be receptive to coming on and filming something in the dressing room. Looking forward to that. But so that kicks off the tour, and then we're in Mansfield tomorrow night. Virgil Ortiz just texted me today. He's going to be out there for some reason.
Wait, you're in Mansfield?
Tomorrow, yeah.
Where's that? Mansfield, Ohio?
No. What am I thinking of? Massachusetts. It's just outside of Boston. It's like our Boston show.
Gotcha.
So, yeah, we'll be out there, and Virgil Ortiz Jr. is going to come out. He just texted me today. I'm like, are you coming out by yourself? He's coming out by himself to come check out the show. He hasn't seen me yet since we've been friends, so that'll be exciting. Yeah. Oh, we got Ryan back on. Let's talk more White Reaper. Dude, I'm so excited to have Ryan on and talk about just the band in general. I mean, the new record that's been out now for a while, Asking for a Ride.
Yeah.
But I've gone back. I don't know about you, but I've gone back and listened to everything, and they're such a great band. Such a great band. Let's bring Ryan in here and see what he's up to today, and let's talk some fucking White Reaper.
Let's do it.
God, your dumpster fire back there just makes me so happy.
I made that this morning for you.
You made it. Wow, just for me.
Just for you.
That's fantastic. Ryan, how are you?
Hey, how's it going?
It's going fucking fantastic, man. How are you?
I'm doing well. Hey, thank you so much for being patient. I know it took me a while to find a day we could do this, but I'm glad that we're finally getting to do it.
Oh, no, this is the perfect day for it, my man. Like, I know you guys were out on the road, right?
Yeah, we did like a little like kind of Canadian run, and I like didn't really bring my laptop and didn't want to like do anything on anybody else's laptop, and just being in Canada always throws me off anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, well, actually, funny enough, I'm about to go into Canada, so this actually worked out perfect because this is we're recording on the first day of the upcoming tour for me and the Boys is Avenged.
Oh, sick.
Yeah, so I'm in Camden, New Jersey. This is not my official bar behind me. That's the Zoom bar. But yeah,
it fooled me. I thought that was live.
Well, that's Brandon. That's Brandon Lombardo, who you met at Sonic Temple,
right?
Who got you on the show here?
Yeah.
He rendered this from my actual bar.
That looks awesome.
This is my real house, though.
Yeah, the burning trash can.
He's got a dumpster fire going on all week, of course.
Yeah, I like it.
So yeah, Brandon was already telling us how he kind of hounded you guys at Sonic Temple on one of the other nights that I was so bummed we weren't on the same night because I want to see you guys live.
Yeah.
I'm a new fan, but a big fan now of White Reaper and what you guys do. So I had said here on the podcast, just to fill you in, that I was a big fan and wanted to have someone talk to one of you guys on or off camera, anybody who knew, and lo and behold, it was our own co-host and director, Brandon Lombardo, was like, I'm just going to go hound them at Sonic Temple and see what we can make happen.
Well, I'm glad you did. Yeah, well, we've been fans of y'all's for a really long time, so it was always super exciting when a band you've loved for a long time, is, shows you some love. So that was super exciting for us, and I'm super happy to be on the podcast.
Dude, so glad to have you here, and we'll just jump right in from that point. Yeah. It seems pretty easy. You guys are getting a lot of recognition since You Deserve Love, which deserves more love. It kind of I think it got the sail taken out of it, or the wind out of the sail there from the pandemic coming out in 2019. You guys were scheduled to do those shows with Pearl Jam. Luckily, you were able to make them up not too long ago, right? But
yes,
this is a great record, and Asking for a Ride is an amazing follow-up to it. It's the record that got me into you guys, but then going back to You Deserve Love, I was like, I don't know which record I love more, because and as I said, I feel like the wind got taken out of the sails of You Deserve Love, and it was right at this time when I feel like, as I look back, because I wasn't a fan until about 4 or 5 months ago, but as I'm looking back, I'm reading stuff that you guys have talked about over the years, and to that point of you guys are getting recognition from a lot of established bands out there. I just mentioned Pearl Jam. You guys are on tour with Weezer. I talked to a lot of other peers and contemporaries, and they all seem to know who you guys are and are fans, like genuine fans of what you guys do. I mean, I guess, what does that mean to you guys? I mean, I know that it's got to be cool. We were in that position, 20 years ago when Metallica first took notice of us. And, I've been in that position. So I guess the question there is, what does it mean to you personally? Are you excited and just keep your head down and try and keep rolling as a band? Or are you actually taking a moment to go like, wow, this feels like we're doing something right?
Oh, dude, like it's been a wild ride of like, I'm kind of an emotional, sentimental type, so like getting to play shows with like these bands that were on like my iPod or like that I had physical CDs of when I was younger, and it's just, it never ceases. Like the appreciation never stops. Like I just am blown away. Like we just we got to do some of those Blink shows, which was phenomenal.
Oh shit!
We've toured with the Killers. We're playing shows with Weezer. Got to go out with Pearl Jam. Have gotten to do stuff with Metallica, who's like my all-time favorite band, and just like getting to meet these people and kind of like, even if it's a short conversation or a shake of the hand, like I always try to like learn something from the show or like how they run things, or like how like like behind the scenes, how things are done. And really the biggest thing I've learned is it comes down to just being kind and treating everybody with respect, and that trickles down all the way like to the opening bands and stuff. So it's like I would just view it as a learning experience, but it never, the shock and awe of how crazy that is never lost on me, for sure. It's awesome.
Dude, yeah. You mentioned learning stuff, and that's something we picked up from Metallica as well. Like when we were out in 2006 with them in Europe, they would come. One of the first bands, at least in our world, that was headlining, would come back and have a conversation with us before the show and stuff.
Yeah,
invite us up on stage and stuff. And I heard, I think it was Tony talking on the Tuna on Toast podcast. I think this is a couple of years ago now with my friend Stryker.
Oh yeah, love Stryker.
Stryker's the best, isn't he?
The best.
Dude, I mean, being here in Southern California, we heard his voice my entire life growing up, and then becoming friends with him.
That's funny. All the Cali people say that. They're always like, I've been hearing Stryker's voice since I was a kid.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And then now to like befriend him, he's such a nice guy too, and he's just
the nicest guy.
And he's just a music fan, and he seems to. I mean, with you guys too, he seems to find really good music. Like when he gets excited about a new band, genuinely excited, and you can tell. If you know him on a personal level, it usually means that band's gonna fucking blow up. And I feel like that was you guys again back in 2019 when you guys came out with "You Deserve Love." He was one of the first ones, at least to my ear or my knowledge, that was pumping it in Southern California.
Definitely. I mean, we were playing on the radio in LA before like we even knew we were doing any radio at all. Like. It was because you kind of like, we had before "You Deserve Love," we had just signed to a major label. And with that comes, all the radio stuff. And like, there's this whole game behind the scenes of radio. And it was even before, I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. But there's, even before we had kind of delved into that entire world at all, he was playing us on one of the biggest radio stations in the country, before there was any, grease palms or anything like that going on. So it was that respect was so awesome to have, and great dude, and we're big fans of Stryker over here for sure.
Yeah, and I was gonna ask on that. So while he was talking to Tony, this was I believe like right after you guys had done the Pearl Jam shows. I guess Tony was mentioning that Eddie had come back and was just like hanging with you guys after shows more often than not. And then I was curious if you could share any. I guess Tony said that Eddie was a really good storyteller back in the dressing rooms. I was wondering if there was a particular one that you were fond of.
I mean, yeah, he's really great about spending time with the other bands, and he just likes to hang out, man. Like he just likes to have a good time, and we had a good time where he like kind of travels with, and a lot of bands do this. We do it to a much smaller degree, but you travel with like little pieces of home or little stuff you like to look at or play with in your green room, and he's got some cool memorabilia from throughout the years before. I don't want to give away too much of what he's got back there, but
well, could you give me like one? Give us like one instance on that.
Yeah, so he just had like some toys that like he's a big like Evil Knievel fan. And there's like there's this old toy from the 70s and 80s where you like wound up Evil Knievel and he kind of shot off the thing. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about. And
I do. Actually.
He'll like ride the bike around. It was like a classic Christmas toy for sure. And
right.
I was just, because I knew he was an Evil Knievel fan, I was like, I actually gave my dad one of those toys for Christmas this past year. And he was like, oh, you mean this toy? And he like just had it with him. And he just brought it out of the case. And it ended up with my whole band laying on the ground and us making a makeshift ramp and him jumping the little Evil Knievel over all of our heads, which was very funny.
That's awesome.
That is fucking killer. I love that story, by the way.
And also, awesome.
I had the pleasure of meeting Eddie in brief at a festival he was doing down for our buddy John Reese down in Dana Point in Southern California. Just briefly, just shook his hand and like walked by. He was nice enough, but to picture him jumping Evil Knievel toy is something that I believe all the listeners at home can appreciate.
He's a really fun dude for sure.
We need to animate that. Like I need to see that scene come to life. That's too good not to have happen.
Oh yeah, well I think we're meeting up not too far off. We've got some festivals together, so I got some videos I can show you.
That's awesome. So going back to those little pieces at home, what do you guys bring out on the road? What are those little sentimental pieces that remind you of home?
I'm like a big like trinket guy. Like I like little like keychains and stuff. So I like, my backpack's all decked out with like pieces of flair and stuff. And just, on those harder days, you just need something fun to look at or hold in your hands just to be like, I'm going to make it through today. Because, being on the road, especially, we're still like in the Sprinter van and all that. So it's like.
I was going to ask about that because I was listening to another podcast with another couple of the guys in the band, Hunter and Sam. Were on another buddy of mine's podcast, Let There Be Talk with Dean Del Rey.
Oh yeah, Dean. We love Dean. Big fan.
Dean's a great dude too. So I was listening, in preparation you guys coming on, I wanted to get a little bit more of a vibe beyond the music. So I was listening that you guys do a Sprinter van. That's wild to me. We've always done. We went from the Econo van, which is what you do when you really don't have another fucking choice, straight into buses back in the day. So. How do you guys own this Sprinter van?
No, so like that's kind of what's been interesting about touring now from even when we started 10 years ago is like now there's all these like weird middle level options of like stuff you can rent. Like we just go through a company and we rent this like super long extra big Sprinter van that you don't need like a special thing to drive, so anybody can drive it, and it fits in a parking spot, which is super nice. Mm-hmm. And then there's like also like the band wagons. I don't know if you've seen those, but they're like miniature buses.
I don't think I've seen those. Yeah.
It's very interesting. It's like something it's like brand new. I don't know, but you also don't need a special license to drive that either, which is kind of scary. But it's got like bunks and a bathroom and a whole like it's like a little bus.
That's crazy. So I'm about to get on my first bus tour in 6 years.
Oh, so, really?
Yeah, it starts at the bus after we're done here. I was telling Brandon already. After we're done here, I go hop on the bus to go to Camden. Actually, I'm actually in Philly right now, but we're going to Camden for the show. So lots changed on buses. I found out in the last 6 years. And when you say an extended Sprinter, you guys are in. So there's the 1, 2, 3, 4 of you guys together in the band, right? 5, right. I miscounted. I apologize. Yeah. So you got 5 guys in a Sprinter van. Do you guys got bunks in there? What's the sleeping situation? Or do you guys not sleep? Do you guys just drive through the night and sleep in the next place?
So we do. That's kind of where it gets tricky is we've got to pay more attention to like the routing aspect of it. So like we still, we like hotels a lot. So everybody gets their own hotel room. So we kind of substitute the cost of doing a bus to everybody is in a nice hotel and
Well, how do you handle the routing though when you guys on tours like you're out with Weezer or you're out with Pearl Jam? It's their routing, so and you kind of subject to that.
Yeah, that is where it gets super tough. and it's a lot of like, driving 2 or 3 hours after the show. And like, what's kind of lucky with the bigger tours like those is like they usually end a little earlier than like our headlining shows, which might not end till like midnight. And we might not be loading out till like 1. So, but like, a show like a Weezer show or a Blink show will end by like 10:30, 11 usually. Because it's in those big venues. They've got a whole lot of tear down.
So you just like split up. If it's like a longer drive, you do like 3 hours and then hit a hotel and then hit the other 3 hours in the afternoon.
Yeah, we try to be as safe about it as possible. But
and you guys are driving yourself at this point? In those things?
Oh, we have a tour manager. We have like a small crew that we bring. Like, obviously we have our front of house guy, and then who's a beast. He's the best, and tour manager Joseph, and he does a bulkhead of the driving, and usually hire a merch person in each city, and then try to bring like a camera guy or videographer as well.
Wait, you hire a merch guy in each city? I know Brandon might get a kick out of this one too. He works with the merch company. I'm curious, like you're getting a local guy each place. How are you getting the recommendations? Because they're handling your money when you're not there.
Yeah.
Actually, it's what's really cool. So we started working with this really awesome merch company out of Southern California called Overcast. They're very awesome. I can't speak highly of them enough. And they actually take care of all that. I don't know if I'm supposed to share that, but they've helped us out a ton.
It's all good. They're not listening anyway.
Yeah. But they rock. They like kind of changed our whole merch game, because that was kind of something we hadn't paid super close attention about, and like just had been bouncing around different companies, and we were kind of talking about the merch stuff. And yeah, we just kind of like handed the keys to the kingdom over to them, and they helped out a ton. So it's been great.
Yeah, dude. I think it's an afterthought for a lot of bands, but there's a lot of money in merch, and if you do it right and you get your e-com set up and you're on site.
Yeah. Well, and it's kind of like one of those where bands I think get hesitant is like you have to spend money to make money kind of thing.
Yeah.
And that's where the guy that we were working with was like, all right, listen, like you just got to trust me. We're going to spend a lot of your money, but I promise you'll make triple back.
Yeah.
And we did. Like, he was right. Like, it was awesome. So it's kind of like a new ethos in our band is like investing in parts that hopefully have a big return.
Yeah.
That's always the tough part though, right? When you're at a certain level where there is income coming in, for the first time, maybe, even if it was a few years ago for you guys, but I can remember the first time we were having money come in, and you have that decision to make. Like, do you reinvest it and keep going? Pay yourself a little bit of money, just enough to continue to live, but like invest it for the future, or do you just write it out and just keep as much of it as you can? And there's no right answer. There's no wrong answer. It's whatever you're more comfortable with, and it sounds like you guys are pretty smart, like economically, with the way that you're traveling and everything like that. On top of it, that I would imagine you guys are probably, and you should be, in my opinion, because I think you guys have an incredibly long future ahead of you. Investing in the future there.
I think so. Or thank you so much. But yeah, like we're kind of at that weird crux moment right now of like. I turned 30 this year, so it's like, the 20s are over, and I kind of feel like thank you so much.
You made it.
I made it. I'm an adult now. But yeah, like we've kind of hit this wall of like, and I think every band that lasts this long gets to this point of like, I didn't go to business school. I don't really know anything about running a band like a business. Like, when I was dreaming of being in a rock band, like it wasn't talking about budget breakdowns and
I can't wait to get in a band so that I could settle the show afterward and deal with my manager and make sure that everyone's paying me the right amount of money,
right?
And splitting it amongst 5 other dudes, and that's definitely not. That's not what we think about when we're kids.
No,
just picking up our instruments.
We're kind of hitting the moment of like having conversations of like, what can we do better? Like, how can we run this like a business and just be smarter about, every little thing, not let things fall through the cracks. And, we have an amazing management team, and they're awesome. And like,
Who is your management team? I was just going to ask, actually.
Our manager, her name is Sarah Morris Powell, and she works with the company C3 on their management division. Okay. And C3 is an awesome, big music company, and she's just the best. She's been with us since we were babies, and love her and trust her to death so much. And it's just like realizing you have so much at your disposal, and just figuring out those, like you were saying, like those places to reinvest, and what how can we make the live show better? How can we make rehearsal easier for everybody? How can we be more comfortable? How can we be less comfortable and save a little more money, or whatever it is. And it's just learning, growing pains, figuring it out as you go along.
I think that's it, though. Yeah, I think that's it, though. You learn along the way. Like, I don't think, as you said, most people in the industry or musicians aren't coming out of business school. So, yeah. But you get around people you trust, like your management, and kind of have them at least start you out in the right direction. So you want to find a good manager that's not just telling you what to do, right? Someone who's kind of coaching you rather than telling you. I
coaching, collaborating, being there, helping you put out the fires.
Yeah. Being the bad guy sometimes when you don't want to be.
Absolutely, yeah. One. Yeah, helping you put out the fires and also start some fires.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like the one behind Brandon. His dumpster
yeah, like that, there. Like the garbage fire.
All right, so let's get a little bit deeper into the start of the band. I did, obviously, you guys, I heard, obviously, correct me if I'm wrong on any of this I'm about to say, but you and Tony met as in your church band at a young age.
That's right, yeah.
And you guys were like, and so you guys are pretty much the two original members, but you guys started a punk band first, right?
Well, so everything you said is correct, but it's like a little like, so like I met Tony through, we were in the church band together as like kids, and it was kind of like one of those like, Mom and Dad, I don't want to play sports, and they were like, well, you got to do something. So it was like, all right, I'll learn how to play bass. Bass was my first instrument.
Oh, and awesome.
Tony was drums originally, and we were just like, 8th grade. I don't know when the last time you went to like a mega church was, but they've got like
I've never gone to of my memory, I don't think I've ever been to what would be considered a mega church. But I have been watching Righteous Gemstones.
Yeah,
so
not quite that crazy. So like we went to like a mini mega church, but actually kind of there's some scenes in Righteous Gemstones, so it's like we were like the band for like the kids services.
Oh, so you would have been with like Adam Devine while he's like flipping and doing all that shit.
Exactly, yes. Like we were like the kids band. Which if my mom and dad are listening, I'm so sorry, but like it was kind of awesome because we didn't have to really go to church. We got to like play the show and then like kind of just hang around backstage a lot. So like, at first when we started, I was like, I don't want to do this. This is boring. Because you got to get there like an hour early and go to practice on Thursday or whatever. But then when we started rolling, I was like, oh, this is cool. I don't have to like go to church. I just like
and
hang
I get
out.
to practice. And I get to practice an instrument.
No, which was kind of cool. And Tony and I have talked about this in the past too, where it's like that experience, however it was at the time, I felt about it at the time, it kind of taught me how to like run a rehearsal or like, how like what practice should look
because you guys would have a proper band leader for something like
so there was
that,
like an older guy who was like in his 20s who was like the band leader, and also we were like learning about gear, like we used in-ears. Like this was a church that had in-ear monitors.
Whoa! You had in-ear monitors at your church?
Yeah,
dude, so you guys were bringing in some fucking money.
I know. I don't know how they were doing that, but yeah. So it was like we were like sophomores in high school, like using in-ears, playing through a professional PA system, like going to these rehearsals and stuff.
Yeah, crazy. Doing legit rehearsals would be such an advantage. And as you said, like playing live, you're playing live. Everything's mic'd up. There's a PA, I imagine. You got in-ears, so you got a legit PA and everything. Everything's pristine. I got what. This was all in Louisville, right?
Yes,
Kentucky, where you guys met.
Yep.
What denomination of church was this?
It's just, those mega churches are all like, non-denominational, just.
Oh, are they?
Yeah, it's kind of like wear a t-shirt and jeans, but give us your money kind of vibe.
Did they sell church merch?
I'm sure there was some iteration of church merch going on, but what was crazy is that like every Sunday was like we were playing a show to like 200 people.
That's wild.
Like it was
such a good
like it was a big
advantage.
show. And then we would have our like punk bands on the side that would like play on Friday, Saturday to like 15 people and then go play church to like, 100, 200, 300 people, which is wild.
So you were on bass at this time.
Yeah, I did
Tony
bass.
has said that he started on piano and drums.
Yeah, his
what
mom's
was he
a piano
playing in the
teacher, and then he did drums, and then he did bass. Tony can play every instrument. I think he did every instrument at the church.
Okay, gotcha. And you said you started out with bass. When did you start picking up the keys?
When they asked me to join this band, so it's kind of like the kind of story that makes the most sense is like I met Tony through this church band thing. Tony was going to school, like grade school, with Nick and Sam, who are the brothers in the band.
Right, the twins, right?
The twins, yeah. And then, so like we all kind of knew each other, and then like we're growing up, and we're listening to like you guys and like like punk bands at the time, or like Taking Back Sunday, My Kim, that kind of whole era, like that. We were all like kind of into that, and then high school came, and then we all kind of like found like the local, punk scene, and started going to like house shows and the VFW hall shows, and kind of started doing that, and then started our own bands and stuff, and just we're kind of like this revolving door. They had a band, Tony, Nick, and Sam had a band, like a Minor Threat-esque like punk band.
Okay, that's where I was mistaken on the story.
And then
there.
I was in a couple of bands, like punk bands, and we would all, play each other's shows and all just. It's just we had one of those like all ages venues, in town. I guess it would be kind of like a Louisville, Kentucky version of like The Smell, I guess, kind of like in LA.
Ours was was Chain Reaction.
Chain Reaction, yes, I forgot. Yeah, Chain Reaction. So it's like a smaller Chain Reaction, just always all ages. Kids drinking beer in their cars out back.
No, there was none of that going on. What are you talking about? I never went to shows drunk and high. Never.
Not at Chain Reaction.
No. I was a very good Christian boy, and I was 15 years old, and
there was nothing wrong. I didn't experiment with anything.
No, never.
But yeah, it was very much like that. Like mom and dad dropped us off and then picked us. Didn't care if the show was over or not. You're getting picked up at 11:30, and that was it.
These kids today with their apps and Ubers, they don't understand that parents don't even have to pick up their kids anymore. Like, what the fuck?
You don't have to pick up your kid from the house show that's in the middle of, the not so great part of town.
Yeah, they get to kick back and open up a bottle of wine like they really want to while you're gone at the show and enjoy each other's company for the first time in 10 years.
I know.
They got it easy these days. I'm only complaining because my son's 6. I'm like, give me another 10 years, baby.
Oh yeah. Are you gonna start him on the rock and roll path early, or?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't even have to force it. It just kind of came. I mean, he likes everything, which is great because my wife is more of she predominantly likes pop music, pop country, pop everything, just pop, like top 40s.
Yeah. Same. I love all that stuff.
I love it too. Like, yeah, she's like, it was never an issue with her musical taste versus mine. I've always been into everything, and so he gets that side of it too, and then he gets like, he gets to sing inappropriate lyrics when he's singing his dad's songs.
That's right.
So yeah, I gotta let him.
It sounds like you got a hit machine on your hands there. That's the recipe for success.
Yeah, a little bit of pop with some metal.
I've always joked that if I ever have a kid, I'm gonna be like, try to pretend to be like staunch sports dad, so then they find punk on their own.
Ooh, that's a good little reverse psychology.
Incept it.
I like that. I'm fucking up. I'm showing him everything.
Of course, that's what I would do. I'd be have the little kid in the Fugazi T-shirt or something, whatever.
No, but speaking on a little bit further on the music, though, man, let's go into that because, as I said, it was Zach picked me up, our guitarist, for rehearsals before we started our first shows about 4 months ago, whatever it was, beginning of the year. So have you heard this band White Reaper? I was like, no, it's hard for me, to be honest. I'm a little jaded at this point in the rock genre. Like, it's hard for me to find new acts. I know you guys have been around 8 years now, but new to me and been excited about it. And I was like, all right, let's give it a whirl. So we're in his truck and he plays me asking for a ride, and even the first song right off the title track, and I got all these vibes of great pop melody, super catchy without being too, as we like to call it, sugary. And then every once in a while there was like these moments where, is that like a thrash Metallica riff right there? Like, where did that come from? And I was like, that was the first thing that my ear caught. And then from that day on, I started listening to Asking for a Ride over and over. And then just 2 months ago, I was at my sister-in-law's wedding. We had to drive to Monterey from Orange County, and everyone was just like, in the car, just doing their own shit. So I was like, all right, I'm driving, I'm putting on my music, and I started going through the entire catalog for the first time. And man, every record is great, by the way.
Thank you.
The first one, I love for its grittiness. It's like, you can tell in the production value and everything like that. Like, how did you guys record that first one while I'm on the subject?
So there's I have to pull this up myself.
Yeah, I have to too. I'm sorry. I'm glad because I do the same thing with my band. Like, I never fucking remember what
we've done. Like, and the order of which it happened, because it's all a blur to me now.
So White Reaper Does It Again was the one.
So the first full length. Yeah, so we did like
first full length. Yeah, you had an EP before that. I've heard songs off that too, and they both are similar in the production manner.
Definitely, and there were a lot of songs on both of those that like probably could have been interchangeable. That were like, it was. And I made this reference earlier. Is like, you have like 20 years to like write your first record, so like there was like a lot of material that we were going through and trying to write new stuff and make an album, like actually figure out how to make an album. But so there was this studio in Louisville that we got hooked up with through just meeting people and like we were like kind of getting some local buzz at the time a little bit. So like, and we had just signed to our first label, which is Polyvinyl Records, and they're a great independent label out of Illinois. And so like we had a budget for the first time, and we like ended up meeting this guy, Kevin Ratterman, who has recorded a ton of like very seminal Louisville records. It was just kind of like this. I mean, like that for like a young band, like that is like who you would want to record it with. Like that was just like he was in all these bands. Like he was in this band Elliot that were huge from our town, and great dude. Recorded a lot of like the My Morning Jacket stuff. If you're familiar with them, they're like one of the big bands from Louisville. And
I'm not super familiar, but I know the name,
yeah. And we got hooked up with him, and we were just like, kind of just went in and did it. I think we were in the studio for 10 days, and just burned through. At this point,
a lot of one takers,
a lot of one takes on, like a lot of one takes, and like we just burned through the instruments. Tony got the vocals down, and then like we kind of did 2 days of like. He mixed it, the guy that engineered it or produced it or engineered it mixed it, and we were just like done in no time. Like it was nuts. And it makes sense because like we had been a band already for like 2 years, or like iterations of the band had been around for like 3 years. Mm-hmm. So like a lot of these songs had been being played like live, like a lot. Like we were like already sick of a lot of them. Like had never been like released. So it was like we just went in and did it like it was a show.
Did you track those live? Some of it, or was it
kinda? So it's like, I think that a lot of times the fans, when they hear like tracked it live, they think one certain thing, but like to musicians like in the studio tracking it live is like, we all played it together. Yeah. Like,
yes.
Like,
that was the question I was asking. I wasn't
which was cool. And like that kind of like developed our like kind of like how we still kind of make records like that, where the studio, this first studio was really cool because it was just a big room and we were just all set up in the room with the drums and, had the amps in separate rooms, and we were just all right there in a circle and just could hammer out the song as many times as we wanted, and then would just look at each other and be like, I think that was the take. And we have done that in some capacity on every record we've ever made.
Oh, that's rad. Yeah, it's good to keep that element.
Maybe not the full record gets done like that,
Right.
We've added some production elements and stuff as we've gotten older, but we try to do like at least one or two songs like that on every record, or like half sometimes. Yeah. You Deserve Love was actually done like that. Most of that record is recorded, tracked live.
That's awesome. I didn't realize that, and because the production's very similar again to Asking for a Ride.
Yeah,
both great sounding records, like absolutely great sounding records sonically.
And those were, those two are major label records, so there was a little more.
There's a little bit more money involved, huh?
Yeah, a little more resource, to go off of.
I wanted to get into the production though, and specifically go back to the beginning there and ask those questions because you guys decided on Tony's voice, obviously, from the very first full length to really put a shit ton of reverb on it.
Yeah,
and kind of have that. I don't know, 70s and 80s glam punk vibe to it. And little Cheap Trick, a little Kicks, a little Rat I hear in there with that kind of sonic thing. Was that the guy that you just mentioned that you guys recorded with, or was that your guys' idea?
I think it's half and half. Like, we were all definitely back in the days of the early stuff, like me and like Nick the drummer and like we were super into like what like Nuggets is?
Mm-mm.
It's like Nuggets is this compilation that came out like in the 90s of like all these like lost 60s and 70s garage songs. So it's like Blue Cheer and like the Sonics and the Cigarettes and the Kicks and like stuff like that, which was very like really loud, sharp guitars that almost like hurt your ears, and then like super reverby vocals, and then just like tanky drums.
Mm-hmm.
And like I don't know if that was conscious, but like we just listened to a lot of that kind of stuff and just weirdo kind of stuff, and a lot of like Cheap Trick, a lot of the Cars, like everything just kind of from that era. And then also I think that there's an element too, like when you're doing vocals are hard because like when you're a rock band, you don't want it to be like too poppy. Like you don't want it to come, you want a gritty element or like a reverby element. Like, even though the producer might be like, we're going to sell 100,000 more records if you let me do clean vocals on it, like there's always like that conversation of the.
That's interesting. So each time you guys go into a record, you still, I mean, even from that was a lot more reverb than say you have on Asking for a Ride. It feels like it's been diluted kind of each record.
For sure.
So is that you guys just pushing back on the engineers and producers on every record? Just being like, no, that's still kind of our sound.
I think a little bit. I think it's less like reverby. We try to do like a slapbacky kind of vocally sound.
On the last two records, it's definitely more like that.
Yeah. So it's just, I think, just learning how to make it cleaned up, because like we want to have songs that can be on the radio, or like I think like a lot of what we try to do is like, and I don't know if you've heard this, but like every record of ours is very different.
Mm-hmm.
But we try to keep this element of like, I want anybody, whether they've got a metal background or a punk background, or if they just like pop music, or like if they're into British rock or whatever they like I want them to find I think there's a White Reaper song for everybody, on there. Like, we can get, I kind of just like that about our band. So I think just finding a way to be palatable to some degree, and we're trying to do this more, I think, and it's like mix it up a little bit within one record, like, you know, on Asking for a Ride, you know, like we've got songs like Funny Farm, which are like literally like I'm screaming on it, and then but then we've got, you know, much more poppier, cleaned up songs too. So not just putting like a film over the whole thing, I think has been something we've been trying to do. And make it
let each song have its
own
moment.
thing, identity. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, no, that's important, I think. Yeah, and I love that you're mentioning all the different eras. Let's say you went back to 60s and 70s and stuff, and I hear all of that. You know, your second full length America, what is it? The World's Best American Band.
Right. Yeah, World's Best American Band.
I thought that was such a great title for this band specifically, because when I listened to you guys over the entire discography, you definitely have the best of each American band from different decades. I mean, you go back to the 60s, I know you guys get a lot of comparisons to Weezer, who you were out on the road with and stuff because of your melodies and stuff. But to me, Weezer kind of took from the 60s and early 70s melodies as well. That's where I hear you guys coming from, the more Beach Boys-esque American bands of the late 60s, early 70s.
Oh, totally, yeah.
And then for you, especially with on the keys, I was interested, and especially now that I know you were a bass player first, where did your influence come for the earlier songs too, where there's some songs there where you're going like the quarter notes a little bit like 96 Tears, kind of the end of 96 Tears stuff, like just coming in there. Like, did you listen to a lot of that? I mean, obviously you said you were listening to Nugget, so I imagine there was a lot of that going on there.
Well, to be perfectly candid, on the first couple records, I didn't write a lot of the key parts. Those were all like Tony wrote most of them, and because I was like kind of a newer addition to the band, like, but right before we recorded that record. But sonically, it was definitely like I kind of wanted to do like synth lines and organ lines, like, and just rip off exactly how Deep Purple organ sound.
Oh, Deep Purple, that's the reference right there. Got it.
So like I used to, when we first started playing live, I used to play out of like a Vox amp with like distortion and really just try to get that burning lead sound, like as cool as possible, and like crank it.
Yeah.
And I still do that. Like now, like my whole, like I run everything through like a Rat a lot of times, which I think is a very underrated keyboard pedal. It's because it's so unpredictable.
I think I used a Rat on our self-titled for a bass distortion on something.
Dude, Rat on bass is our bass player uses a Rat too sometimes. Yeah. Rat on bass is awesome.
By the way, I got to give a shout out to Sam on the bass, dude. He's a monster, dude. I was listening to I saw you guys' your official live performance of was it Judy French? I always want to say Judy Dench, but Judy French. And there's like a break there where it's like a drum and bass solo there between the twins, and I was just like, dude, these guys are fucking incredible musicians.
They're awesome, dude. The brothers on the rhythm section is definitely a secret trick, I think.
Yeah,
they just are so locked in.
Oh, it's like Pantera, the late great Dimebag and Vinny, you know.
Yeah, classic. Yeah,
they created the metal groove, in my opinion, the way that they did it.
Yeah. Oh, I grew up a huge Pantera fan. So
yeah, man,
crazy big Pantera fan.
And then you definitely get like further into like some 80s stuff too, or even like late 70s. I mean, I hear a lot of Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, the Ramones in there.
Yeah, definitely, 100%. And I think World's Best, the whole kind of like ethos and sound, and like I don't know if we were consciously shooting for this, but we were trying to step up our game and kind of like. So like when I was in high school, there was this like big like garage rock scene that was like coming out of LA and Nashville, and that's kind of like where we weren't like trying to emulate it, but it was like these bands from Tennessee, like Memphis, Nashville area that were like really influential to us growing up. A lot of bands out in LA, like kind of the surf punk thing was really back at that time, and that was just kind of this scene that was happening in like the 2010 era.
That's interesting. Before you go, I don't mean to cut you off there because this is very interesting to me. Like I was curious where you guys got the surfer punk influence, being from Louisville, because I was like, we have that out here in Orange County. Like I grew up on that, and I definitely got some some sounds from that, or just California in general. I know you guys have done like Lagwagon cover before. That's in that world.
Well, that was just kind of like what was available to us to listen to and see, like new rock coming out. You know, it was like Ty Segall and like just that whole, you know, Infinity Cat Records was putting out all these garage bands and a lot of guitar. Like that's just where the guitar bands were. In Louisville, it wasn't really like there wasn't like a big like rock scene here. There was like we have this amazing hardcore scene in Louisville that is just flourished and is bigger than life itself here. And then there's like kind of like more like artsier style rock that's here, but not like a straight like garage rock. So we would go down to Nashville a lot to see shows. Like no bands we wanted to see were coming through Louisville hardly ever, unless they were playing a festival. But then like that was kind of dying out after our first record, and so we were kind of like, let's not make another like garagey record. Like let's. So when it was time to do World's Best, we were just kind of like, let's try to make like a big ass 80s rock, 70s, 80s like Bruce Springsteen record. Like
yes, you know, Bruce Springsteen definitely vibes on that.
And with the Americana vibe and the key sounds we chose and the organ sounds and the way the guitars and that was our first, like, because you know on our first record it was just Tony on guitar, and like he did a little bit of doubling, but then like we're like known for now being like a dual lead like guitar mini band.
Dude, I loved hearing that, by the way, the first couple of times, and then I did a little bit on Asking for a Ride for sure. There's some songs that set. I mean, Thin Lizzy was like something that popped into my head immediately.
And so that's kind of
that dueling. It's that dueling stuff that like, it's not the shreddy dueling. It's just like the very melodic. I prefer the melodic dueling over the shreddy dueling, to be honest. And you guys like nail it on that. It's like Rainbow, Thin Lizzy, as I mentioned. You know, that kind of vibe.
Yeah, and that's kind of where that all started, kind of with the World's Best record. And like just wanting to, and that's kind of also where we were like, let's never like make the same record. And actually, it's not really even a conscious thing. We just physically like cannot make the same record twice. Like it's always got to be a swing, like a big swing in a weird direction.
I love that.
And I kind of feel like our new record is this weird amalgamation of all the other records.
Do you get the feeling that like each time you challenge yourselves to do something different, right? Or you know, just maybe not even a challenge. It's just this is your muse at the moment that you guys are getting into the studio. This is what you're feeling.
That is right. You hit the nail on the head. Like it's just what it is, what is coming out. Like you know, at the time that like they were writing Asking for a Ride, it was like heat of the pandemic. We booked, and I mean the song Asking for a Ride, because the whole album took a really long time to make. But
well, you guys went through two different producers on that one, right?
It's one producer, and then we just kind of finished it ourselves and kind of scrapped like a whole half of the record and then rewrote a bunch of stuff.
Gotcha.
But like when they were, we kind of were like, well, we got to start writing a record, and we got like this huge Airbnb in the middle of Arkansas, because like some of us were in Texas at the time, some of us were in California, and then some of us were in Kentucky. So we were like, where can we meet up that's not gonna suck for everybody? And because nobody could fly.
Yeah, you're talking about driving too. Yeah,
we all had to drive, so we found this like crazy place in Arkansas in the middle of nowhere. Got our sound guy to come. He brought an entire mixing board, and we just set up like a full studio space in this Airbnb. And we were just kind of, the first, you know, half of the week was a lot of us like excited to see each other because it'd been like 6 months. And so it was a lot of tequila.
Just to see anybody. A lot of tequila. Yeah. Oh, tequila. What's your bottle of choice?
Well, I'm, you know, I'm a quantity over quality guy personally. So.
Man after my own heart.
Yeah, right? I like the I like the Espolones and the El Jimadors and the whatnots, but if I'm going a little crazy, I like the Don Julios of the world and the
1942. Still my go-to bottle.
I need to. Yeah, I've only gotten to try that one time. I need to finish a whole bottle to myself.
Yeah, well, when we get one of these times, and hopefully we're crossing paths on festivals or whatever the case may be. Maybe we're just in the same city. We'll sit back and have some tequila together.
Dude, yeah, I think we've got an aftershock on the same day, which is great.
Oh, that's right. Nice. Yeah, dude. Brandon, you coming out to that?
I will be there.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And then then you're coming to my hometown. I don't know if you knew this.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think we play on the same day at that one, but we'll be there the whole weekend. And
Are you still living in Louisville?
Yeah. So Tony and I we're roommates. When we both live in Louisville.
Oh, right on. Yeah. I wasn't aware because I know I heard some of the other guys moved out to L.A. Is that right?
Yeah, we got some guys in L.A. and then just got some bouncers arounders. But the operation is still out of Louisville. Right.
So yeah, I mean, I guess you guys are drinking tequila for the first week, getting your muse right in this Airbnb, setting up.
I think that we were given a budget for that trip, and I think probably 60% of it went to alcohol.
Now that deems you the world's best American band right there, in my opinion.
Yeah, if I could look at the budget breakdown of the album "Asking for a Ride," that's a lot of it is tequila.
It's fantastic.
So
you set up in the house and you recorded. Yes. Is that what we're listening to when we're listening to Asking for a Ride? Some of the songs, was that the finished product or was that just the writing?
No, that was demoing. So it was kind of like we needed a way to do demos together, and that was just the best way. And we kind of needed some inspiration because I think for us, we're the kind of band that draws a ton of inspiration from touring and like the shenanigans we get into out on the road. And so like, being cooped up for like months and I'm just eating DoorDash 3 meals a day and maybe going on one walk and just binge watching Netflix or whatever. Like there's not a lot of good album fodder in there.
Well, not for you guys. So wait. I can't let you go without talking a little bit about these shenanigans.
The on-tour shenanigans?
I want to know what it's like to tour in White Reaper as far as off the stage antics.
Antics, well, oh my goodness. We like to have a little fun. We've got some sober boys in the band, but they still love to hang, and I think mostly because kind of when You Deserve Love was coming out, we were just never not on the road. That was before we had upgraded to the Sprinter, so we were still in the Econo line pulling a trailer. When it was like I think I saw that bench seat more than I saw like my mom and my girlfriend like for so long. Like like it was. And we were doing a lot of the radio stuff, so it would be like waking up super early, going straight to the radio station, doing interviews or like, lounge sessions or whatever it is, and then going straight to the show. Like we didn't have time to eat. Like we were like really starting to burn out a little bit. And this is like when we're at the top. And it wasn't really burnout, but it was just like we got to grind while we've got everybody's attention thing. And wouldn't change it for the world, but I think we kind of took those feelings and remembering them into like, all right, now when we're on tour, let's try to like have a little fun too. Let's make sure we see something or eat something or do something that's kind of outside the musical realm, and it just kind of keeps you from going crazy. But those things will,
So okay, on the road then, these days when you're trying to. Because I agree. I mean, you got to remind yourself what you started this whole thing for in the first place, and it wasn't to grind, it wasn't to do all that. It was to have fun with your buddies and create awesome music, and just do what you wanted to do when you were a teenager, right?
Yeah.
So I agree. It's important to remind yourself to just have fun and live in those moments.
Yeah.
I know for us, for a while, we had a few styles of places, let's say, or genres of places that we'd like to go to in different cities. One of them being off days was Hooters during the day, and gentlemen clubs at by night. And
sure, yeah.
what are some of your guys' like when you got a day off? What's that look like?
Day off is we go see a lot of movies. I don't think we're quite as fun as you all, but we like to go see a lot of movies. We like to find a nice dive bar or find a barcade. There's a lot of cool a lot of people are opening up arcades again, which I think is fun. So try to find something like that. Or Tony and I are huge sports fans, so on the rare occasion it lines up, we'll try to go catch a game somewhere. Catch an afternoon baseball game or something, or
is baseball your guys' sport, or or is it the three major American sports? And if so, who are your teams?
Yeah, so definitely the three majors. I grew up loving baseball, but then kind of fantasy football kind of forced me into being obsessed with football, and then also I'm a Bengals fan, so my entire life the Bengals were terrible.
And you got fucking Joe Burrow now.
And now we're pretty sick.
Yeah,
which is awesome.
No kidding.
So that was, literally, when I was like 10 years ago, if you were like, do you think the Bengals will ever go to the Super Bowl? I would have been like, no, there's no way. And we went.
He had all those years though too. With I'm blanking on the coach's name. He had 16 years to get you guys to the playoffs, but losing in the first round every time.
Oh yeah, I don't blame the coach. I blame Andy Dalton.
Oh, Andy Dalton, yeah.
That's one of my buzzwords right there. I don't get me started on Andy Dalton. But, we're in the good times now. I think we're in the greener pastures for sure.
Yeah.
I'm a Reds fan who are also terrible, but they're having a good time right now too. And then I'm not so much a basketball guy. Tony is a big basketball guy though.
Okay. What's Tony's team then?
He's a Knicks fan, I think. Knicks, Giants, Mets are his teams.
Knicks, Giants, Mets. So he's a New York guy.
Yeah, his family is from New Jersey.
Oh, okay. That makes sense. And I was like, why would you? I mean,
my family's from
Mets
Northern
and Knicks.
Kentucky.
I get the Yankees, because everybody's, undeniable how many championships they have. You bandwagon on that however you want, but to put yourself through being a Knicks fan and a Mets fan, it's got to be brutal.
Yeah. Yeah, I couldn't do that. I mean, well, I kind of do that.
You
with
did.
Reds
You
and the
did.
Bengals.
Yeah,
I know.
Say, wait a minute. You did.
I think it's the pain that we like.
I'm a Raiders fan. I mean, at least I have my
nice.
Lakers. At least I have my Lakers as a great franchise, but I got my Raiders too, so we're still struggling. We'll see what happens.
Hey, they were on a good trajectory, and then the wheels kind of fell apart.
Oh God, don't even get me started on that.
That's his
we'll talk about that some other time.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in Sacktown when we meet up. But yeah, man. So when you're talking about the barcades, I would love a good barcade to go to as well. But so days off is just kind of just chilling with the boys then, right? Is what it sounds like.
Chilling with the boys and splitting up into different groups. It's hard to run around with 10 people around a city, so just
hard to get those reservations at the right restaurant, right?
We were making that joke the other day about how anytime we want to eat, we are the restaurant's worst nightmare because we come in with 10 people usually right before they're about to close.
Do you guys still roll into a late night Denny's or a Waffle House, still all dressed up in show gear, still getting all the eyes?
Yeah, you have to. Sweaty, super sweaty.
I remember those days. That was fun.
Yeah.
At least you guys don't wear makeup. So when we were doing that, we would walk into these Midwest Waffle Houses and just get the worst stare downs of all time because we're just all makeup. It's running all over our face. We're sweaty, still wearing all black. It was a wild time.
I gotta be. Can I be cringy for a second?
Yeah, man.
I gotta see if you're on this shirt.
Oh shit!
What shirt?
It's 07, so I feel like you should be.
Oh, I should be. Unless something happened that I wasn't aware of.
I can't wait to see this.
Yeah, I think I know what shirt it is. I'm not positive though. I gotta wait to see it.
I'm literally digging through my tour suitcase right now.
Yeah, you just got back 2 days ago, didn't you?
Yeah. Oh, here we go.
Oh yeah, there I am.
Look at that guy.
That's not the one I was thinking of, but yeah, that's me. Second from the left. That's Zach, then me, and Sin, Matt, and Jimmy.
Look at this. No Louisville show. Or is there a Louisville show? Did I buy this one for that?
Was there a Louisville show?
No, I don't think so.
Last time I was in Louisville was a festival again, and we stayed at this really rad hotel. I just remember in the lobby they had like all these sculptures built out of gun shells. Do you know the hotel I'm talking about?
Oh man, yes. Was it kind of a museum or was it like a?
Yeah, it's like a museum that's like
probably.
Yeah, it's kind of attached to the lobby, and then you go up to the left to the actual hotel. But yeah,
that place is awesome.
Very very cool spot. I enjoy Louisville.
Great date night spot.
Yeah.
They've got a great restaurant there.
Oh, okay, perfect. Yeah, so that's me on there.
Yeah.
I look a little different, it's probably 20 years ago there. But
that was a good look for you, man. You should bring it back.
I liked it.
Yeah, I don't know if I have enough hair anymore, bro. I've got a 6-year-old now. They fucking take your hair.
Hey, I feel you.
I
did long hair forever. And then
I know, I saw that. I was just surprised actually when you. Oh, just recently, because I was just gonna say I was surprised after seeing all the stuff with you guys before. You all had the long hair, and you're very energetic on the stage over there. Like, almost kind of like the hype man over there.
Yeah, definitely. I just something comes over me. I don't know what it is.
It's fun, man. It's rock.
Born to be on stage, I guess.
Hey, as long as you know it, man. I think that's one of the other things that we learned from being away from the stage altogether. All musicians out there is you really like when you get back to it. Correct me if I'm wrong, or if you had a different experience here. But when you get back to it, it's kind of like, oh yeah, this is what I was supposed to. This is what I was meant to do with my life.
It's funny. Like, it never occurred to me that like people didn't like being in front of a bunch of people. Because like I'm kind of the guy that's always
extrovert.
Like, yeah, or like I'm always just the kind of guy that's like, you should start a band. Like if you like music, be in a band. And then a lot of times people are like, I could never do that. And I'm like, why? And they were like, I'm afraid of being in front of crowds. And I'm like, I only like being in front of crowds. Like it's like the only thing I want to do ever.
Yeah, like studio. I'm the same way. Studio time is great and all. You're creating and that's fun, but it's not the same, man.
It's not
being on stage is the shit. That's what it's all about.
The feeling you get when you step out is just uncomparable to anything that I've experienced.
No, same.
It's totally. So cool. It's the coolest job. You can't beat it.
I totally agree. I did want to ask a couple more things before I let you go here. I got to get we all got to go. But you guys had the song, the official video for Judy French, bringing up that song again, with Alexandra Daddario. Amazing actress. I fell in love with her in Hall Pass. Was the first movie that I saw her in. How did that come about? Like, do you guys? Is that through the label? Is that through a mutual friend?
It was this great director. His name's Brandon Dermer, and he's done a bunch of really cool stuff over the years, music videos and movies and TV shows, and it's a really cool guy and kind of just like a big dreamer and like a big like we can do this, like never think that you can't do something crazy kind of guy.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it kind of goes back to the like I was saying, like the Bruce Springsteen vibe we were going for. So I think the literal like idea is like, I'm blanking on the song name, but the video is like Courtney Cox as a young Courtney Cox is.
Oh, right.
Yeah. What is
she like in the crowd or something like that?
And then she comes up on stage and sings the song.
Yeah, I don't remember what song it is, but I remember the
music video. It's one of his biggest songs. I
know. It's from it was like the late 80s. Yeah. Someone could put it in the comments, or he's Googling it right now.
Yeah, I got it. It's Dancing in the Dark. It's
Dancing in the Dark. That's what it is. Yep.
I'm terrible at recalling information. So.
Dude, by the way, don't even worry about it. You're on a podcast where that's like what we do all the time is we go like, remember that one thing from that other thing? And me and Brandon and Sam go back and forth usually on it, and then we joke like, "Oh, if only there was something that we could look it up."
Look it up immediately. No, that's what we got to come up with there has to be a podcast. It's like no phones, no Googling podcast.
Oh man!
And it's just like 2006 again, where you're just fighting with someone over stuff.
But it's got to be all trivia based.
All trivia based.
All trivia based with no phones, no. Oh, yeah. All right. When you come back, okay. we'll have the whole band next time. Yeah. Next time we'll get the whole band White Reaper on. We'll get a whole round table going. And we'll do a full podcast like that.
That was like my college experience because it was kind of before everybody had an iPhone. So we would just be sitting around and someone would say something and then someone else would be like, I don't think that's true. And then you'd be like,
ensue.
Then you just yell at each other.
And then the bets. And then you gotta
bet. And then someone has to go to the desktop computer in the other room and Google it and be like, I told
you hear from the other right. Yep. You hear from the other room. You motherfucker.
And then you just gotta leave. You just gotta leave the party at that point.
Yeah, you're like, fuck, dude. How am I gonna afford buying this motherfucker a beer?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So Brandon Dermer, he was kind of like, let's do like the Courtney Cox thing, and sent out a bunch of emails to a bunch of young starlets, and Alexandra Daddario was great. Was amazing. She was phenomenal. Super great to work with. Professional, incredibly professional. It was cool. It was very fun.
Yeah. So you guys had obviously had interactions with her too then.
Yeah.
And, was she aware of your band before she was hit up on that?
Definitely not.
Would you say she might be a fan now?
Maybe. She came to the show after. So it was like one of those things where we filmed the music video and then had to leave and go immediately to sound check. And
okay.
Like, because like all of our gear that was in the video is also like the gear that we're using to play the concert. So
that's awesome.
We had to like literally load out.
No props. No props.
No props. But she came to the show. She was awesome. It was super fun. It was at the Troubadour, which is
oh yeah, I love the Troubadour.
One of the best venues in the world, and it was so sick. When's the Avenged Sevenfold underplay tour? That's what I want to know.
The underplay tour. Yeah, I don't know, man.
The Secret Shows tour.
Yeah. We've kicked around that idea several times in our career. We did. The only time we did, I guess you could call it a tour, was only like, I think it was like 10 days or something. We had to do some what do you call it? Fixing to do in England. We had some bad press in the UK after one of our records. We had a new record coming out. We're like, we got to get back in these kids' good graces. So we played places like the 100 Club and 100, 200 seat rooms for like 10 days, and it ended up being a lot of fun, man.
I'm sure it was so fun. I feel like though with heavier bands, it's always a little more dangerous though, because you get a small rowdy crowd.
I love that though. I miss that. You know what I mean?
It's super fun.
Yeah, it's. Yeah, I don't know about you, man. You get a lot of people who ask the questions. Where's your favorite place to play? Do you enjoy playing in front of bigger crowds or smaller crowds? And it's, I don't know about for you, but it's a hard question because it's like I love something about so many cities that I visited. Shows versus actually hanging in the city are two different things.
Yeah,
and then even just the sizes of the shows, there's beautiful things about both. Mm-hmm. So it's like it's always that question, and like I understand the layman is ignorant to what actually happens, right? Yeah. So you're never insulted by the question, but it's also like I don't know how to answer that, man.
They're all so different. Like, last week we opened up for the Foo Fighters at this festival in Canada called FEQ.
Oh, nice.
I didn't even know this show was on the books. Like, it was like I didn't know what we were doing there at all. I'm kind of bad about that sometimes. I kind of like just getting in the car and then just being where are we going?
Same way. I wake up, I have no idea where the fuck. Everyone's asking me before we left a couple days ago at home, like my family and friends, oh, where are you going? I'm like, North America.
I just started sharing the calendar with all my family and friends, just being like, you can just look at the Reaper calendar. I don't know.
Smart.
I don't care.
That's
I don't really look at it. But yeah, so we end up going there, and it ended up being like 100,000 people. And like we're there when we played, which is not always what happens when you're the opener. And so it was like, dang, I'm pretty sure that's the biggest show we've ever played. But then, then there's like, places like there's like these magical venues across the U.S. Like one of my favorite places in the world is the Metro in Chicago. Like it is one of the coolest places ever. Troubadour, similar vibe. Like everybody's played there. You know, big bands still want to go back and play there. The owner Joe is a friend, and he's just the coolest guy. They just take care of bands. The crowd's there, and it's like a built-in phenomenal crowd. And that's why you get so many live from the Metros and live albums from there and live videos there, because it's just the coolest place. So, like, how do I compare a place like the Metro to 100,000 people in a field in Canada? Like,
it's apples and oranges.
Yeah, apples and oranges. You can't compare that.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, before we let you go here, I got to get going to the venue. I was wearing the shirt, and I thought it would show up, but it's not. Because I had to ask you guys.
Yes.
I had to ask you guys about your collaboration with Taco Bell.
That's right.
My favorite establishments, favorite American establishments. So it's the song "Getting in Trouble with the Boss," right? That they ended up using. Walk me through how this happens. I mean, you guys are on a major label now, so I imagine it's coming through the label.
You know, I don't know about that. I think that actually Taco Bell has been really cool about finding really awesome music to put in their advertisements recently. And I actually recently got to meet the guy. I'm not going to say his name because I don't want a bunch of people emailing him. But
you can tell me later because I want to know why he hasn't hit us up yet.
You guys, probably because we're a significantly cheaper bill than you guys would be.
I guess. Hey, man, I'm good. I'm good with one of those Taco Bell gold cards.
Yeah.
So we talked to Walker Hayes, who had the fancy like Applebee's song that was massive.
Yes. I actually love that song.
It's fantastic. It's a fantastic fucking song. It just puts you in a good mood, man. I see my son and my wife dancing around the kitchen, knowing the actual dance moves, and I'm like, oh my god, this is too much.
Like the TikTok dance moves.
Yeah, they know the TikTok dance moves. So I was like, oh my god, you're raising my son wrong. But no, it's actually really cute, and I love it.
Yeah, I love that.
But we had him on the podcast, and I wasn't aware, but he actually got a lifetime Applebee's gold card. So no matter what, like he could bring his whole family in. That's what he was saying. He's got a massive family. He's got like 6 kids. And he's like, if nothing else, if everything in my music career goes to shit, I could still get a meal for my family.
We're going to Applebee's.
Yeah, no shit. Getting fancy.
That gold card on $1 Margarita Monday. Oof.
Oh, I didn't ask him because he's sober, so I didn't ask him if it included alcohol. That would be. I'm curious now. A
lot of times those deals don't include alcohol, which is smart.
Yeah. You can't give somebody unlimited alcohol because you'd be an asshole like me. That would definitely take way too much advantage of that.
I'm the reason there's a rule for that.
We figured it out.
Yeah.
No. So on that though, So the deal, you said you met the guy who's like the director of music for advertising at Taco Bell, I would imagine.
Yeah, or some kind of job, music supervisor,
like
whatever you
call it. Something in that. Yeah. So,
yeah.
So obviously they're being forward thinking on that and bringing in some contemporary good music.
He's a punk dude, and like Turnstile recently was in one of their ads. Turnstile's phenomenal, and
I love Turnstile. I didn't realize that.
They were in an ad.
That one yet.
Couple months ago, and then a couple months ago our really good friends Military Gun also were in an ad. Like they're popping off.
I'll check them out.
Doing great. They're awesome. We went on tour with them. Really great dudes. Everybody go check out the new Military Gun record, Life Under the Gun. So I think it's just been like and I don't know, I feel like there's this moment like kind of metal adjacent, hardcore adjacent, emo adjacent music is like in this having a moment right now, like punkier stuff, and like we kind of fall there a little bit. We're all old punks, all like old hardcore kids, and so like I just think it's like kind of cool, and people seem to like it. It's really funny. My grandma loved it. Dude, it's awesome to be on a commercial.
It's amazing because it's so funny though, because like the commercial comes up, I'm walking around the house and I hear it, and I'm like, man, that sounds fucking really familiar from the other room. And I'm like, I fucking know that voice. I know that song. Like, where do I know that from? And it actually took me a few more times of the commercial coming up. I was like, that's who it is. It's fucking White Reaper. And I I got all excited and told my wife, and she's like, "Cool."
No, I mean, I was like having a movie night with some friends, like over at a friend's house, and it came on, and I hadn't seen it live yet, and so I'm like jumping up and down, and they're all like, why are you freaking out? And I'm like, oh, it's our song is in this commercial, and they're like, sure.
Oh, dude, I would be jumping up and down too if I was in that.
No, I was
That's
so
awesome.
stoked. It was funny. And then we were actually in the green room in Asbury Park the other day. There was like a TV in the green room. We had it on, and it came on, and everybody was like, "Oh my gosh!"
It comes up all the time on ESPN. I mean, I'm watching ESPN Sports Center and First Take, and Taco Bell's everywhere, obviously. And man, such a good place. So wait, so am I to understand you guys did not get a lifetime gold card for being a part of this?
No gold card, but they've Taco Bell has treated us super well over the years, and they have one of the coolest programs in music that I think like not many people know about. But they do this program for bands called Feed the Beat, and they just like support bands, like young, like small bands. Like they have been a huge supporter of independent or small music like for a long time, which is like really cool because like huge brands like that don't need to do that. You know, like they've got they just want to
go to music. Yeah, I mean to pick music, like not a culinary thing or anything like that.
Yeah. And it's like, they just support people doing their thing, and I still give them a ton of money every week, pretty much. I probably eat Taco Bell once a week.
Definitely late night and hungover.
Oh yeah,
is the way to go with Taco Bell.
Oh yeah,
and that brings me to probably our final question of this chat. I think the rapport has been good, and we'll love to have you guys back and have you back on and hang in Sacramento and continue the friendship here.
I can't wait.
But to put a bow on this, let's go around the room. What are your favorite items from Taco Bell? What's your go-to here?
Wow.
You want to start us, Brandon?
Yeah, dude, I've always gone quesadilla, man. Like the chicken quesadilla is one of the just go-tos. It's clutch.
Underrated item. It is very good.
Yeah, it is. That with the hot sauce. Fire's a little too much for me, but the hot. That's what
I'm saying. I can't do fire, but I can do hot.
What about Diablo? That's just like ridiculous.
They still have the Diablo?
Yeah, man.
Yeah, they do.
Or maybe they just have like leftover here. I live in a very small town, so it's probably just they ship it off here.
I still got leftover in a drawer. I don't know about you guys, but every time I go to a Taco Bell or a Del Taco in California, when I drive through, they're always like, "How you want some hot sauce?" I'm like, "Yes, give me 2 handfuls of all of it."
Oh, yeah.
And then I have a drawer in my kitchen at home that is full of hot sauces for like the little packets. Because I mean, I'll use it on other food too. Around here.
Oh yeah. Well, that was kind of cool. They started making like the bottles of it that you can get at the
grocery store. I love that. I get that too. I get that too. Yeah.
Oh, we got it on lock. We all all got the sauce drawer.
Oh, for sure. You gotta have the sauce drawer on the bus too, or on the Sprinter. You gotta have it.
Gotta have the sauce drawer. My Taco Bell item is definitely the cheesy gordita crunch.
Ooh, that's my wife's item. That's my wife's item right there.
That's the goat. It's the best.
Man, it's solid. There's not really a bad choice in my opinion here. I'm a little surprised with the chicken quesadilla. I'm not the biggest fan of the chicken at Taco Bell, but maybe that's just me. I mean, my go-tos were always just a simple crunchy taco, bean and cheese burrito. And when I was a kid, they used to have, I don't know if they still do. They have like the cinnamon twists.
Yeah.
They got them. Oh, they're there.
Oh, those are so good. And then as I got older, the 2 items, and I was so sad that they got rid of one of them, but then brought back one of them. My 2 favorite items always was the double-decker taco and the Mexican pizza.
They don't have the double-decker anymore?
They do not have the double-decker anymore.
They
brought back the Mexican pizza because everyone got irate when they got rid of that.
I remember that, and it like sold out immediately.
Yeah, I would go we were in Vegas last year, Brandon. You remember that? And I was like, oh, they got a Mexican pizza here. Then it was at one of them. It said they had the Mexican pizza, and then the next the next kiosk or whatever where you actually order from was just a piece of paper that said we're out of Mexican pizzas. I was like, you got to be fucking kidding me.
Dang, you just like unlocked a memory of the double-decker taco. That was like I used to get that every time.
Dude,
and then I think I graduated to the cheesy gordita crunch because it was kind of like a similar vibe.
Right. Well, you got the melted cheese.
Yeah.
That's the big difference there.
Wow. We're bringing this back.
We need a campaign right now. Like this is where we started.
We're going to campaign to bring back the double-decker taco.
Actually, to your point earlier of Avenge might be a little too expensive for Taco Bell and their commercials. I'll tell everyone in Taco Bell world right now, Drinks with Johnny is not too expensive. If you do, sponsorships over here. Did you notice? So I don't know anyone at home who's watching rather than seeing. This isn't just a normal Taco Bell shirt neither.
It's interesting.
So my sister-in-law, who I mentioned got married earlier, her best friend from childhood used to work at Taco Bell corporate.
Oh, cool.
And she would get these merch items. She knew me and the wife were such big fans. And the 25th anniversary of the movie Demolition Man came around. And she got
I knew I recognized it, dude. I love Demolition Man.
Demolition Man T-shirt where the logo had changed to be futuristic, quote unquote, because Taco Bell was the only restaurant left. If you're not familiar with Demolition Man, you definitely need to go check this movie out. Sly Stallone, Wesley Snipes, young
Sandy
Sandra
Bullock.
Young Sandra Bullock. I think right around the time of Speed, like right when she was popping.
I wonder if it's a pre-Speed or post-Speed. I can't remember.
Oh, there's a way to find that out, but we'll save it for trivia. So we'll
save it for trivia.
No phones.
Yeah. No phones on that one. Now, a great movie, and it's so funny because I actually recently it was on TV not too long ago, and I rewatched and I still loved it. I was like, this is a perfect action
so cool.
90s movie.
It was like so insanely expensive too.
Oh, I'm sure.
Like it was like weirdly crazy expensive.
Oh, and Dennis Leary. We can't mention Demolition Man without Dennis Leary in that movie as well.
Love Demolition Man.
Such a good movie. Taco Bell. It will one day be the only source of food forever. Well, Ryan, man, thank you so much for taking the time here today. Let's keep in touch on text as we have, and
please,
anytime. And please send my regards and love and well wishes to the rest of the guys. I hope to meet them as well sometime soon. And
we'll be at we're definitely going to catch you all at Louder Than Life, which is coming up in September. So
September and October, we'll be seeing each other.
If you got any time on your hands, maybe we could bum around Louisville, go somewhere fun, or go get some Taco Bell.
Yeah, let's go get some for sure.
Come over to my house. You can come. You can see all this.
I would love that. I was peeping what you got behind there. A little treadmill. An old flyer.
Got the treadmill.
I'd love to check that out, man.
Please,
we'll definitely do all that. Actually, I was just gonna say, I know you guys are playing August 22nd, I believe, in Bend, Oregon, with Weezer at that amphitheater.
That's right. I'm looking at that right. That's right there.
Yeah, there's right there on the calendar. You're an old school calendar guy. I like it.
I am. I've got to be able. If I can't see like 4 months at a time, I just don't know what's happening. Because like I'm sure you can corroborate that when you're touring. Like you've got it. Like somebody's like, "Oh, do you want to do this next month?" And it's like, I have no idea.
No, I don't know how I'm going to feel that day.
I don't know how I'm going to feel. I don't know where I'm going to physically be on this earth.
Right. No, totally. That's one of those things people won't get unless they've toured, Yeah.
I have to see 4 months at a time. I plan my I think more than 4 is too early. Yeah. But 4 months at once I can.
Hey, you're ahead of me on that, man. I don't even look to the next day most of the time. So kudos to you. But I mentioned the Bend show because my buddy has a house out in Bend, Zach, who introduced me. He said he's going to check out that show.
Oh, please.
If I have time, I might drive up there or fly up there, and because I believe I'll be home.
Oh,
so
awesome. Well, please.
And I heard that venue. I heard that venue is awesome. It's a little amphitheater on the river out there.
Spot. Someone was telling me about that.
Yeah. So maybe I'll see you out there.
We'll be in Berkeley a couple days later.
Ooh, love Berkeley.
I don't know where that is, but
it's
I know it's
middle of California. Outside of San Francisco. I can't believe my sister's coming up in this again. My sister-in-law went to Berkeley, and I had the pleasure of going up there. Great town.
Very cool.
Yeah, man. All right, well, we'll be seeing you maybe August, definitely September and October. We'll keep in touch over the digital feeds.
Absolutely.
And, thank you again, man.
It was a pleasure, y'all. Thank you so much for having me on. It's a blast talking to you guys, and I'll do it anytime, any day of the week.
Awesome, man. I'll take you up on that. And everyone, if this is your first time hearing about White Reaper, first of all, you're missing out. Second of all, just go check them out, man. This is a great American band, as their second album says, and I couldn't agree more. I mean, it's just I'm just a big fan. Very inspired to hear a true rock band doing what you guys are doing right now.
Thank you so much, and I've been such a big fan of yours. I've got your face on a T-shirt, and it's been an absolute pleasure to get to chat with you. So thank you again. Been a blast.
Man, thank you
so much. We need to
get
your face on a T-shirt for Johnny.
Yeah,
I have one I could send.
Please do. I would love that. Is it just you, or is it the whole band?
It's the whole band.
Okay. We got to get a custom one that's just right.
You.
Well, we have to do that thing, like, where you see you in a picture of shirt on with my face, and then I make a shirt of you wearing the shirt with my
Inception,
face,
dude.
and then you make a shirt of the shirt of the shirt of the. We got a whole. We could start this whole bit.
I love it. I love
We're
it.
We're gonna get Brandon on this, right? Because you do the merch.
Yeah, dude. I'll make the shirts. Let's go.
Yeah. Done.
Well, it's been a pleasure, y'all.
All right, man. Have a good rest of your day. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you. You too.
See ya.
All right, later. Yeah, man. What a good chat.
Yeah, dude. That was great. Like, it was fun. Like, I know you're a fan of that band and like deep fan. So like to see you just dig into the music side and hear the music side of it from Ryan was just awesome, man. I just kind of had to sit back and let you talk shop for a second.
Yeah. Sorry. Kind of bogarted the mic here today.
I could tell you're excited. I like that.
Though. I was, man.
That's more insight than I could have delivered,
Man, I've been living this band for the last few weeks. I mean, a couple months really, but like really diving in even deeper just the last few weeks. And man, everything I found was just fucking awesome. Like I said, they're just a pure rock band, man, and they're just
they're good.
I just realized today, they're all friends. They're all friends from like high school. Like that's rad. That's akin. I can understand that, as we are all friends from the same town. It's really fun to see that in a new upcoming band. I mean, they've already had, as we said, plenty of success, but they haven't even tapped into their ceiling yet, in my opinion.
No, I think you're right. And today I didn't even realize it. I just found out that they're on that Metallica Blackened, the covers album they put out.
Yeah, I heard they did Sad But True. Yeah, they did Sad But True. I heard that. I forgot. We didn't get a chance to ask about that. He mentioned it kind of briefly at the top.
Yeah, he said it was one of his favorite bands too. So I'm sure we can touch back on that, see how that came around. But yeah, man, they're a great band. They put on a hell of a performance, and the energy on stage is just like, whoa, okay, that's what catches you. Like these dudes are in it. It's awesome.
I can't wait. That's the next on the list. I've already done a deep dive on everything else, but I can't wait to witness it and be a part of it in the crowd and catching this band, man. So really cool chat, man. Thanks again for hooking that up, Brando. That was a lot of fun. Yeah, man. And I guess that's it. I'm going to go head over to Camden to play the first show of the tour and check out Kim Dracula and Alexis on Fire and play some shows and have some fun, man.
What's fun is we're going to probably record a podcast about tonight's show
before everyone hears this. Yeah, absolutely. Well, we'll be able to talk about this chat then.
Love it.
And every other dumpster fire you got going on back there.
Hey, man, I got to get back to them. My phone's blowing up.
I am sure it is. So I'll let you go, man. Everyone at home, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Make sure you're following everything Drinks with Johnny, and we'll see you next time.